Look at your life right now. Look at where you are. Look at where you thought you would be by this point. Look at the dreams you quietly carried inside you when you were younger. The version of yourself you were supposed to become. And ask yourself one honest question. Who exactly is holding you back? Because if you sit with that question long enough, you will realize something that most people refuse to face. You are not stuck because the world is too cruel. You are not stuck because you lack talent. You are not stuck because the timing is wrong. You are stuck because somewhere along the way, you handed your power to people who never had your permission to hold it. You started shrinking to make others comfortable. You started asking for approval from those who never wanted to see you rise. You started measuring your dreams against the small minds of people who never built anything worth measuring. And every time you bent your spine to fit into their expectations, you traded another inch of your future for another moment of their fragile peace. But here is what separates those who rise from those who stay buried. The ones who rise stop performing. The ones who rise stop explaining. The ones who rise stop asking. They simply learn the quiet, ancient lessons that have lifted powerful people out of obscurity for centuries, and they apply them without apology. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago. He watched ordinary men become princes. He watched princes become legends, and he documented exactly how the human mind must be sharpened, disciplined, and trained if a person wants to become someone the world cannot ignore, control, or hold back. Tonight I'm going to hand you those lessons. This is not motivation. This is initiation. By the end of this monologue, you will understand exactly why so many people have been able to delay your rise, and exactly how to make sure no one ever has that power over you again. So sit down, lock in, silence the noise around you. Because what you are about to learn will change the way you move through this world forever. Chapter 1. The invisible cages. Before you can rise, you must first see the cage you are living inside. And here is the cruel truth. The cage is invisible. It does not have bars. It does not have locks. It does not have walls you can touch. It is built entirely out of opinions, expectations, comparisons, and fears that other people planted in your mind years before you were strong enough to question them. You were told what was possible for someone like you. You were told what was reasonable. You were told what to settle for. And the most damaging part is that the people who told you these things were not your enemies. They were your family, your friends, your teachers, the people who, in their own quiet limitation, mistook their fears for your future. This is the cage. It is the small voice inside your head that says, "Who do you think you are to want something this big?" It is the hesitation before every brave move. It is the apology you whisper before you ask for what you deserve. It is the way you instinctively measure your potential against people who would never measure their own. Machiavelli understood that the greatest battles are never fought against the visible world. They are fought against the invisible scripts that have been written inside us. Princes did not rise by conquering their enemies. They rose by first conquering the inner voice that whispered they were not worthy. You must do the same. You must walk through your own mind like a quiet inspector, examining every belief, every fear, every limit you have accepted as truth. And you must ask one question of each: who put this here? And did they have the right to? Most of what holds you back was never yours to begin with. You inherited it. You absorbed it. You wore it for so long that you mistook it for skin. But it is not skin. It is a costume. And tonight, you will begin to take it off, piece by piece, until the version of you underneath finally has room to breathe. Chapter 2. Why people try to hold you back now. Let me tell you something that will free you the moment you accept it. The people in your life who quietly hold you back are not doing it because they hate you. They are doing it because your growth threatens the version of themselves they have made peace with. This is the hidden psychology Machiavelli wrote about centuries ago. He understood that most people, when faced with someone rising near them, do not feel inspired. They feel exposed. Your discipline becomes a mirror to their laziness. Your ambition becomes a spotlight on their excuses. Your transformation becomes a daily reminder of everything they swore they would do but never did. And so, without ever saying it out loud, they begin to subtly resist you. They mock the dream so you stop sharing it. They question the plan so you start doubting it. They warn you about the risks so you slow down. They remind you of past failures so you stay humble. They tell you they just want you to be realistic, and the word realistic becomes the most beautiful disguise their fear ever wears. Understand this clearly. Most of the people holding you back genuinely believe they are helping you. But help that requires you to stay small is not help. It is comfort for them, disguised as wisdom for you. You must learn to spot this pattern. Watch how people react when you share a bold idea. The ones who lean forward, ask questions, and add fuel are your tribe. The ones who pause, smile awkwardly, and immediately remind you of what could go wrong are your cage. They may love you. They may even mean well. But their fear, if you keep absorbing it, will become the ceiling of your life. Machiavelli warned that a wise person does not seek approval from those who cannot imagine the heights they are climbing toward. To do so is to ask a person who has never seen the ocean to evaluate your ship. From this moment forward, choose carefully whose voice you allow inside your decisions, because every voice you let in becomes a brick in the cage or a stone in the staircase. Chapter 3. The first lesson. Stop asking for permission here. Is the first Machiavellian lesson that will shift the entire direction of your life. Stop asking for permission to become the person you were built to. Most people do not realize how often they are quietly seeking approval to live their own lives. They float ideas to friends just to see the reaction. They wait for parents to nod. They wait for partners to support. They wait for the world to bless their next step before they dare to take it. And while they wait, life keeps moving. And the moment they were supposed to seize slips quietly into the past. Machiavelli observed that powerful people rarely announce their next move. They study, they prepare, they strike. They build first and explain later, if they explain at all. This is not arrogance. This is sovereignty. Because the second you start asking for permission, you have already handed someone else the steering wheel of your future. You have agreed, without realizing it, that their approval matters more than your vision. And no one will ever approve a future they cannot imagine for themselves. So you must stop asking, stop pitching your dreams at the dinner table. Stop testing your ambitions on people who will never carry the weight of them. Stop seeking validation from a world that only celebrates the brave after they have already won, and laughs at them while they are still rising. The next time an idea moves you, do not share it. Build it, quietly, disciplined, consistently. Let the result do the speaking your words never could. Powerful people do not ask the world for permission. They give the world a reason to ask them for it. And that shift, from asker to giver, from petitioner to authority, begins the moment you decide that your life is no longer up for public vote. Chapter 4. The lesson of silent movement, bow. Second Machiavellian lesson is one of the most overlooked weapons in modern life. Move in silence. In a world addicted to announcing every move, every milestone, every micro-victory online, the person who moves quietly carries a power most people will never understand. Silence protects you. Silence preserves your energy. Silence prevents the small minds around you from interfering with a vision they do not yet have eyes to see. Machiavelli wrote that revealing your plans before they are ready is one of the surest paths to having them weakened. He understood that the world is full of opinions, and every opinion you let in is a small course correction away from the original direction you were called to follow. This does not mean isolation. It means discipline. You do not need to tell your friends about the business you are building. They cannot help you build it. You do not need to tell your circle about the discipline you have started. They cannot maintain it for you. You do not need to broadcast every transformation while it is still happening. Transformations whispered about in advance often die in the conversation. They never reach the work. Watch how the most successful people in any field operate. They go quiet for months, sometimes years. They drop off social radars. They stop attending the parties. They stop returning the random calls. And when they finally resurface, they do not return as the same person. They return as something new, sharper, calmer, almost unrecognizable, carrying results that did not exist the last time anyone saw them. That is the law of silent movement. You owe no one a real-time update on your growth. You owe no one explanations for your discipline. You owe no one a justification for the new boundaries you are drawing around your time, your energy, and your attention. Just go quiet. Just go to work. Let your transformation be a surprise, even to the people who thought they knew you. Chapter 5. The discipline of detachment. The third Machiavellian lesson is the one most people resist hardest, because it requires you to give up the one thing your ego loves most, being affected by what others think. This lesson is detachment, not coldness, not numbness, not pretending you do not care while a quiet rage burns inside you. True detachment is something deeper. It is the disciplined refusal to let the opinions, judgments, and reactions of others become the architects of your inner peace. Most people do not realize how much of their daily energy is spent worrying about what someone will think. A small comment from a coworker can ruin an entire afternoon. A subtle look from a stranger can replay in the mind for hours. A single unfriendly message can pull a person out of focus for an entire day. And in this constant emotional negotiation with the outside world, you slowly lose the ability to hear your own voice clearly. Machiavelli observed that the men who lasted in positions of influence were not the ones who fought every critic. They were the ones who simply refused to give critics rent-free space in their minds. They understood that energy is finite, and every minute spent emotionally reacting to a small person is a minute stolen from the mission that actually matters. You must learn this. When someone tries to provoke you, do not engage. When someone subtly tests you, observe but do not react. When someone tries to draw you into a low-level conflict, recognize it for what it is, an invitation to leave the high ground you have been quietly climbing. Decline the invitation. Smile if needed. Nod if needed. Walk away if needed. But never bend the long arc of your focus to fit the temporary storm of someone else's mood. The detached mind cannot be manipulated. The detached mind cannot be rushed into mistakes. The detached mind cannot be pulled off course by people who have nothing better to do than try to derail those who do, and in time, the people around you will sense this shift. They will not always understand it, but they will respect it, because the calmest person in the room is almost always the most powerful one in it. Chapter 6. The Power of Becoming Rare. The fourth Machiavellian lesson is one of the oldest laws of human value. You are worth what you are willing to withhold. In a world that rewards constant availability, the person who learns to be selectively present becomes magnetic. Your presence, your time, your attention, your energy, these are not infinite supplies you must distribute equally to everyone who demands them. They are resources, and like all resources, their value rises with their scarcity. Machiavelli understood that proximity dulls perception. The leader who is always around is the leader who is taken for granted. The friend who is always available is the friend whose value is rarely noticed. The person who answers every message instantly slowly trains the world to expect and then to demand that immediacy. You must reverse this pattern. You must stop being everywhere. Stop answering instantly. Stop showing up to rooms that never asked for your presence. Stop pouring your time into people who would not notice if you stopped. Stop being a default option for those who only choose you when their first choices fall through. Pull back. Not out of bitterness, but out of strategy. Disappear into your work. Disappear into your growth. Disappear into the quiet construction of the person you are becoming. And let the people around you slowly begin to feel the weight of your absence in a way they never felt the comfort of your presence. This is not manipulation. This is the natural physics of human attention. What is rare is studied. What is constant is forgotten. When you return, and you only return on your own terms, you will return as something different, heavier, sharper, less reachable. And the same people who once overlooked you will find themselves leaning in, paying attention, treating you with a respect they never offered when you were always available. Becoming rare is not about playing games. It is about finally understanding that your time on this earth is short, and the most disciplined men in history did not waste it being constantly accessible to people who never appreciated the access. Become rare. Become focused, become hard to reach, and watch how quickly your value, in every room you enter, begins to rise. Chapter 7. The Inner Fortress. The fifth Machiavellian lesson is the one that holds all the others together. You must build an inner fortress. Without it, every lesson before this one will eventually collapse. You will preach silence on Monday and overshare on Friday. You will declare detachment in the morning and lose your composure by evening. You will commit to your discipline on a high day and abandon it on a low one. Strategy without structure is just decoration. The inner fortress is the unshakable foundation inside you that the outside world cannot reach. It is built not from anger, but from acceptance. Acceptance that some people will not understand your path. Acceptance that some doors will close. Acceptance that the journey will be lonelier than you imagined, harder than you expected, and slower than you hoped. Once you accept these truths fully, you stop being shaken by them, and a man who cannot be shaken cannot be stopped. Machiavelli wrote of princes, but the deepest prince is the one who rules the kingdom between his own ears. That is the throne no critic can climb, no failure can topple, no opinion can shake. And once you sit on it, every other throne in your life begins to assemble itself around you. How do you build this fortress? You build it through habits that strengthen you daily, through sleep that restores you, through training that hardens you, through reading that sharpens you, through silence that recenters you, through discipline so consistent that even on your worst day, you still operate above the average person's best day. You build it through independence. The man with one source of income can be controlled. The man with one friend can be isolated. The man with one source of meaning can be devastated. But the man who has built his life on multiple pillars, skills, relationships, finances, faith, fitness, focus, cannot be easily collapsed by any single setback. You build it through stillness. Sit alone without your phone. Walk without music. Eat without distraction. Let your mind remember what it has forgotten. How to be quiet without panicking. How to be still without scrolling. How to be present without performing. In that stillness, your real self returns. And when your real self returns, the world stops being able to shape you against your will. Chapter 8. The Transformation. Look at what you have become through these lessons. You came into this monologue carrying the weight of every person who ever doubted you, every voice that ever dismissed you, every limit that was ever quietly assigned to you by someone else's small imagination. But somewhere in the last 20 minutes, something inside you shifted. You stopped imagining yourself as someone who needed approval. You started imagining yourself as someone who simply moves. You stopped seeing your critics as obstacles. You started seeing them as background noise, irrelevant to a journey they were never going to be invited on. You stopped negotiating with the version of you that was small, scared, and constantly seeking permission. You started rehearsing the version of you that is calm, disciplined, and quietly building something the world will eventually have no choice but to acknowledge. This is the transformation Machiavelli engineered 5 centuries ago. Not loud, not flashy, not announced on stages or shouted from rooftops. It happens in the quiet rooms where disciplined people make the decisions no one else has the courage to make. It happens in the early mornings, the late nights, the small choices that stack into a life nobody expected from you. And here is the secret no one tells you. The same world that once held you back will not just step aside when you become this person. It will quietly begin to make room for you. People will sense the change before they understand it. The tone in conversations will shift. The kind of opportunities that find you will change. The doors that used to require begging will start opening with a knock. Not because the world has grown kinder, but because the world has an ancient, almost instinctive respect for someone who has stopped asking it for anything. That is the kind of person you are becoming. That is the kind of presence that walks into rooms. Differently, that is the kind of life that nobody, not even your old self, could ever hold back again. Chapter 9. The final command. You have made it to the end. But this is not really an ending. This is the moment you decide whether everything you learned tonight stays a fantasy in your head or becomes a discipline that reshapes the rest of your life. Knowledge that does not become action is just decoration. It is comfort dressed as growth. And you, my friend, did not come here for comfort. You came here because something deep inside you is finally tired. Tired of being underestimated. Tired of being overlooked. Tired of carrying invisible cages built by people who never had your permission to build them. From this moment forward, you will move differently. You will stop asking for permission to live your own life. You will stop announcing your moves before they are ready. You will stop letting the opinions of small people sit on the throne of your mind. You will stop being constantly available to everyone and start being deeply present in the things that actually shape your future. You will build the inner fortress that makes you immune to manipulation, to flattery, and to the storms that break weaker people. You will rise, not in the loud, performative way the world has been taught to expect, but in the quiet, disciplined way that Machiavelli wrote about centuries ago. And one day, sooner than you think, you will look around and realize something almost unbelievable. The people who used to talk over you are now choosing their words carefully. The doors that used to feel locked are now opening on their own. The version of you that used to apologize for taking up space is now the version other people look to for direction. You will not remember the exact day it happened, only that it did slowly, quietly. Through 1,000 disciplined choices nobody applauded. That is the path. That is the lesson Machiavelli left behind for anyone willing to study it without flinching. That is the kind of person nobody can hold back. Before you leave this monologue, do one thing for the version of yourself you are about to become. In the comments below, write 3 words and 3 words only. I rise quietly. Not as a slogan. As a vow, a signature on the new chapter you are entering tonight. Write it slowly. Write it like you mean it. Because one day, when you scroll back and read it, you will remember the exact moment you decided to stop being held back by anyone, including yourself. If even one lesson in this monologue reached the part of you that has been waiting to wake up, do me a quiet favor. Tap the like button. It costs nothing, but it pushes these lessons into the feed of another person who is sitting somewhere right now, ready to hear exactly what you needed to hear tonight. Subscribe to this channel. We are not building an audience here. We are building a brotherhood, a quiet community of people who refuse to be held back, refuse to be ordinary, and are committed to the disciplined work of becoming everything they were meant to be. Turn on the notification bell. The next lesson might be the exact one your life is about to demand from you. Do not let the algorithm bury what could have transformed you. So go now. Walk back into your world with a sharper mind, a calmer spirit, and a quieter resolve. Stop asking. Stop explaining. Stop apologizing. Just rise, disciplined, silent, and unstoppable. And let the world finally meet the version of you it was never quite ready for. Nobody can hold you back anymore. Now prove it.